Good morning, everyone. My slides and talk are going to be nice and simple. There's lots of pictures, and there's lots of me talking, so hopefully you can all hear me okay. It's very interesting just listening to Francesca talk earlier on about dates and things that happened. Fundamentally, there's 4 dates that are sort of key for me. And it's another message that, unfortunately, where medical people sort of missed the boat. 23rd of March 2011, I was playing tennis at a tennis club just outside Cambridge and had an innocuous injury on my right knee, which kind of served me right. I was showboating, I was being a typical show-off. Ended up in A&E, had an X-ray. They gave me paracetamol. They sent me home, and the next day I had to go and see a consultant. Consultant strapped my leg up, nice and tight. Didn't give me any advice, any information. You'll be fine, it's just a sprain, nothing broken. Off I went. 12th of April, 2011, I walked into the ensuite at home, and the only way, you think of these great lines that you're going to say if you're going to take your last breath, and you're there and you're thinking, what would I say? Apparently, saying things like, I don't think I'll feel too well, doesn't make your wife laugh, because when I said it, that's when I collapsed and died. The DVT fundamentally had travelled, turned into a massive pulmonary embolism. I had no signs, I didn't know what was going on. Next thing I knew, I was in the ICU. Made contact eventually with Lifeblood, tracked them down, probably like yourselves, on Facebook. And then you get talking to Anya, and then you get talking to kind of everyone else. And part of me, the support they gave me, I wanted to do something just really say thank you, because probably a bit like Francesca, you go through, and I've got the word journey up there, and I find it interesting looking on the Facebook page and other kind of feeds, because you can see new patients, you see people where they are in certain places. Yes, you will have depression, you'll likely have PTSD, you will have panic attacks, and yes, you will come across medical people who still poo-poo your symptoms, and it's frustrating. So, I thought, great idea, I will do a half marathon, raise some money for Lifeblood, bit of awareness, lovely. Now, there's the tennis racket. So I was playing tennis, didn't work out well for me, ended up there in the ICU. Going back to this thing here, 16th of August, don't use your mobile phone when you're driving. Some bugger's going to get hurt. Ooh, sorry. Basically, that put pay to my half marathon. And we recovered from that eventually, saw a few more dents and scars. The funniest thing is, the first thing I said when I came to with a Mercedes on my head was I said, I'm on warfarin, I'm on warfarin. That was the first thing I said. And the paramedic said, we know, we've seen your badge. And that's all I kept on saying. It's an instinct. You can think, oh, crap, I've got to tell them. So I did. So that was on the 16th of August. Soon after that, the charity oars started. I thought, well, let's do this. I spoke to an old friend of mine, Dean Headley, an ex-England cricketer. He said, I'll sign them and auction them off, get a bit of money for them. So that's how they started. Now, you're probably wondering why there's a Labrador up there. There's a final date, 5th of April this year. This is nothing to do with a PE or a DVT. This all to do with a little thing like that. Where we live, he got into a field with some horses. I had to get him out. I rugby tackled him. I'm not 16 at school anymore as a prop. I'm 48 with a dodgy arm. Dislocated the arm, so it's not too bad. Now, the charity oars. It is purely a fundraising campaign to raise funds for Thrombosis UK. I have been absolutely overwhelmed at the response that we've had from the people. You just pick up the phone or on Twitter and all these things, you make contact with them. We've met some amazing people. And the other thing I do find very interesting, when like a 6-foot-tall chap gets on the Piccadilly line and he's standing there with this thing, well, actually 2 of them, the number of people who look at you as if, well, firstly as if you're mad, and then they say, oh, what's that about? And it's just a really nice way to say, well, it's for Thrombosis UK, research and awareness of DVTs, pulmonary embolisms. And you start talking, they go, oh, my uncle had that. And you think, why don't the public, why don't we know yet? All these people who have suffered. These will be auctioned off on World Thrombosis Day, which is 13th of October this year. Now, we've met, as I said, some amazing people, sportsmen and women. There's a few of the names up there. Tanny Gray-Thompson, lovely lady, talking to her. Turns out her husband had a PE while in America 3 years ago. Boris Johnson, he had a DVT. He's been very supportive of these things. Stephen Merchant, Steve Coogan, Claire Bordingford. I mean, the list is going on, is endless. We've met some amazing sportsmen, and their support has been absolutely wonderful. And there's some of the rogues. I thought I'd better get some rowers. So you've got Helen Glover. She has, I think it's about 9 Olympic gold medals and world champion. And the wonderful thing about these people is that they'll talk and they'll take the information away. And fundamentally, you never know, just by talking to someone, who you're going to impact on, whose life you potentially could save, we get to talk about the awareness. Oh, yeah, what are the signs? Oh, can have heat, pain, swelling. They're normally the signs. So it's wonderful. Now, my friend at the back there she is. We've had this wonderful idea, and I thought we'd share it with you all now and tell you about it. I've contacted a company called Merry Thoughts, who are probably the best soft toy maker in the UK. And what we're going to do with this chap, when he turns up, it's probably in the post today actually, we're going to send him to New Zealand. Now, in New Zealand, I've got a friend who's making us some miniature charity oars. And the bear is then going to travel back from New Zealand to England via absolutely anywhere we can send him to. And the idea is, if you look on the Facebook page or on Twitter, out there you've got lots of other campaigners and fundraisers. You've got the ISTH in America. You've got all these great people and corporations. And what we're going to do, send him. Have your photograph taken with him. We're going to set up a website, get our Twitter page, Facebook page, all the usual things. And we're going to track this teddy bear all the way back to England, hopefully in time for World Thrombosis Day. But as a way of raising awareness, it's incredibly fun, it's incredibly simple, and he'll travel the world. We'll have the donate here button on the website, or they'll carry a card with him to list of kind of the Just Giving pages, so you don't know where you're going to get the funds from or how. And we think, I mean, Claire and I talked to him, we just think as an idea, it's incredibly fun, and we want everyone to get involved. As soon as kind of we're done here today, it'd be nice if we can get all your emails and we can start the kind of the database going for that. That'd be lovely. The other thing that I wanted to tell you about today are these 2 companies. There's Apollo and Taylor's. Now, because I can no longer work in what I used to do, which is marketing communications director, I still do a freelance, I write CVs. And I was talking to the boss of this company, and she said, oh, what can we do to help? I said, well, make us your charity of the year. Put something on your page, donate, write up about Thrombosis UK. And they said, okay, we'll do that. Let me just talk to my dad. Dad owns this company, Apollo. I think their turnover is in the excess of about £23 million a year. They are, from June, making Thrombosis UK their charity of the year. Now, it's early days, so we've got to work out how we're going to raise the funds and what they're going to do. But as a thing to be able to tell you today, I love doing things like this. I generally never thought my life would turn, I'd be standing on a stage with a 8-foot wooden oar talking to you about thrombosis or DVTs. That was not the way my life was going. Using drive and passion, we've got these sponsors, we've got the campaigns going. I've been appointed to a nice committee looking at good old stockings. So it's quite interesting when they're saying some of the research that's out there. And the other thing that's we're piloting, I was approached by the East Anglian Ambulance Authority, and they are piloting a knowledge campaign of pulmonary embolisms for their paramedics. And I've been asked to join them as obviously someone who had a lovely PE. And from that, what we're hoping to do then is to find out which areas you're all in, and to find out who your ambulance or kind of agency is, and we're going to try and roll it out from there. Because the paramedics are key. Because a lot of the time they'll be the ones that find you. They're the ones that will pick you up. And they do think, oh, is he having a heart attack? Oh, is he having a panic attack? Oh, has he got asthma? And it's things like that. If we can break down the information so they look at you, they listen to you, and then you're sorted. So that is me. That is one of the oars. Follow Charity Oars on Twitter and go to the Facebook, tell everyone about it. And obviously, if you know any famous sportsmen or women, actors, then we'd love to meet them. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
That's okay.